What do you think we're going to get from Brock Purdy in this game? How do you feel about Purdy and the way he's playing coming into this one?
I feel good because I know he doesn't have to be perfect. I know it doesn't have to be clean. I know you can hit him early, turn him over, create uncomfortable pockets, and he can still play winning football. So for that reason, Larry, I feel really good about Brock. That doesn't mean he's going to be 24 at 30 for 295, 2 touchdowns, no picks. But I just feel good that in what I think this game is going to be, where you're imperfect, they're imperfect. The game they just played has really prepared. I think the game before really prepared. But it also, more than prepared, it confirmed kind of, if you think Brock's a grinder, and when I say grinder, I just mean like can handle failure and bounce back within the same game, then the last 2 games have really shown that. Something that I already believed he had, but he proved it further. So I feel pretty good about him. I think he's gonna be good. I don't, because I think in these games, you have to be able to handle pressure and failure. And I think he has shown he can handle pressure and failure.
Did you see this little thing? I'm going to share the screen on this. This is really good. This little clip from NFL Films. This is Bosa, looks like, talking to him right in their corner of the locker room.
So the fact that you just are doing this blows my mind. All of us, bro.
All of us. It's crazy.
Did you think you'd be this good? I think I've asked you this before. I know, but did you, how much confidence did you have? That was the second pick of the draft, and I lacked confidence.
Part about the game, but
dude, I met your brother.
That was kind of an interesting exchange. Did you think you're going to be this good? No, bro. I thought I was going to be S.
What stood out to me about that was how uncomfortable Brock was.
Yeah.
With probably having the cameras around. He felt like he should say what would sound. Brock really wanted that conversation to end. Like, he tried to end it twice with just like a handshake and a hug.
Right.
And Bosa just Bosa's like doing his own podcast there for a second, which was really funny because it feels kind of out of character for Nick with the cameras on to do that.
Did Nick know the cameras were on there?
Well, there's another one behind. I don't know. Maybe Nick didn't know. There's so much going on around you. There's cameras everywhere. I thought it was a really sweet moment for Nick. I thought that was really cool. And I think, look, in the era in
honestly,
which
I could do better. Honestly, I could do better. I mean, that's a great line.
Yeah, it's a good line, but it's not exactly what he would have said, I don't think, if the cameras weren't around. I think
Brock knew the cameras were on. The question is, did Nick?
Yeah, I appreciate Brock's. Brock was trying to walk a fine line there if he really believes in himself, but he's also not the guy that says it a certain way. And we live in an era where if you want to copy what you think a quarterback is supposed to sound like and look like and talk like in front of the cameras, it's very easy. You can go watch any of your favorite quarterbacks. Like, if you're a quarterback, right? I watch a lot of this. My buddy Yogi Roth does a lot of this Elite 11 stuff. So I've watched a lot of it over the years. And it's interesting to try and figure out which of these guys is just putting on what they know a quarterback is supposed to sound and talk like, and which of them is just being themselves. And one of the things I love about Brock is he is not too slick about it, right? He's not practice. He's just trying to walk the line of being smooth and direct and how the quarterback's supposed to be, but not talking in a way that lets you see exactly how much he really believes in himself. And, it won't probably always be that way. If Brock plays for the Niners for 10 years, he'll get a little older. He'll get a little more comfortable. He'll be a little more mature, and he'll say some more things. But right now, at this point, because of his age, because of how many stars are on his team, he doesn't have to act like I'm the man, right? If he if you're the quarterback of if he'd walked into a 3-win team, then he'd have to do some of the I'm here to turn this franchise around stuff. And or he wouldn't have to, but I think some guys would in that spot, And because it's not exactly where he fits into the locker room just based on accomplishments, he gets to, I think, just be himself, which is good. He gets to slowly come along in that way. But I don't know. I think everything about Brock is fascinating. I find him really interesting, what he's trying to do. If they win the Super Bowl, the debate about Brock Purdy doesn't end. It only intensifies. If anybody out there's a pro Brock person, quote unquote, and thinks like, I just want him to win the Super Bowl to prove everybody wrong. We've been in media a long time, Larry. That's not how it works. You don't get to just win one game and end a debate.
No.
It's gonna rage all off season. It'll go through next year. Can he do it again? Anybody can win a Super Bowl. It'll be whatever, which is fine. I'm not just here for it for like the clicks. I just think it's really interesting. I don't think there's anything more interesting than a young quarterback, everyone trying to figure out, is he going to be a superstar or is he not going to be a superstar? Right. And we went through it with Kaepernick, remember? It was just as fascinating, maybe even more fascinating then, because people thought this guy could be an all-time great quarterback. And you had him replacing Alex. And like, are you allowed to lose your job to an injury? Right. You remember that debate? So we've had it. This is the second time we've had it in a decade. And it's just, it's a gift. It's a gift for everybody who covers it, who watches it, who loves debating sports. It's awesome. And he's playing well while doing it. And he's just an interesting guy and a unique story. And I've never seen anything quite like I've seen, we've all seen like Kaepernick was one thing, but the last pick of the draft, this is something different. I've never seen anything like it. It's like if Linsanity lasted a year and a half. If Linsanity turned out to like just be one of the stars,
Well, it's funny. The Linsanity thing, that's always kind of a sore spot because that guy was not legitimate. This guy, I think, is legitimate as far as a star. I just think that the one thing that separates Purdy is rare competitive fire. And once again, it's like you can't really see a lot of the things that make him him. That's why, think about it. The two greatest quarterbacks who ever played were overlooked. Joe Montana was a 3rd-round pick. He was overlooked. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. He was overlooked. They're the best.
Yeah.
And what did you overlook about them? Well, you couldn't see into their chest and say, man, these guys had incredible heart. But that's what Joe had. Now, underrated athleticism for Joe, underrated arm strength for Tom. I think you could probably say the same. You could probably say the same two things about Brock: underrated athleticism, underrated throwing ability. But really, what separates these guys from others is this like almost dysfunctional. I need to win. I have to win. And that's what I'm getting. That's what I got out of Brock's running in this last game. It's like, you know what? It's go time, man. He can sense the finish line. And I think as we get closer, he's going to play bigger because he's such a great competitor. Now, so is Mahomes.